Ladies, welcome once again. Thank you for joining me inside the Sister Sense Power Circle. As always, to think about those things that we were able to accomplish very recently, and we just kind of kicked things off as far as my power moves for the final quarter of the year with the Back to Business webinar conference that we did last weekend, right? So I definitely want to say thank you for those of you who participated in that, and I want you to make sure that if there's anything that you need or anyone you need access to, right, you are able to find them inside of the Power Circle. Now, obviously, after something like the webinar conference that we did, I think it was maybe 9 or 10 hours straight, there are a lot of things that you can do. There are probably a lot of things that you want to do. So today I wanted to talk about those things that you should be doing if you are interested in consistently generating revenue and profit for yourself, building your business online, and understanding what all of that looks like. So that's what we're going to focus on and talk about today. Now, as I mentioned just before we actually dive into our session for today, which is all about PayPal profits and power moves, finding your sweet spot. I just wanted to make sure that I gave a shout out to those of you that I see here on the call. Dr. Nee, she is really excited to share all the wonderful things that she is doing, and she actually shared a wonderful post about her experience listening to the Back to Business Power Circle webinar conference and even connecting with one of the speakers, Rochelle Carter, creator of Elkhorn Media. So that's definitely an amazing thing. I see Marceline here and Antoinette and Jay, and Lynette. So just kind of wonderful to see you guys here, active and excited about jumping into our clarity session for today. So, 3 essentials to making money. Of course, you know I am your host, LaShanda Henry, the creator of Sister Sense, the place where I help you make sense of making money online. I want to share what I believe is the sweet spot for digital sellers and how you can get into that sweet spot for yourself. That's really what I'm going to be talking about today. But for those of you who are listening live, a few things just really quickly. Number one, let folks know today is the last day to get access to the Back to Business webinar conference at b2b.sistersense.com. So it's going to be gone tomorrow. If you registered, you get access to everything that's there for as long as it's online. But tomorrow, I'm closing down registration so no one else will be able to access Back to Business 2014. So you definitely want to do that if you haven't already done so at b2b.sistersense.com, right? And then for those of you who are interested in either working on your vision or understanding what you need to do to fire up your business, definitely make sure that you maintain the momentum by participating in our Fierce, Focused, and Fired Up 2015 webinar conference that's going to be happening at the beginning of the year in January. So I want you to write these 2 down, okay? First one, Web 15. If you are interested in participating in the webinar conference, you can use the code WEB15. This is going to be available for just a few people so that you can get $10 off early registration, right? And that's at powercirclecconference.com. If you are interested in participating in the Mastermind Weekend, the 3-day weekend that I have here in the at the Aloft Hotel in North Carolina, you can use the code PWR15. I've got 2 of these for 2 women who mixed extra early registration. Extra early registration I did. I was intending to do it for the whole week, but it ended really quickly. So that sold out to get seats for $250 for the 3-day weekend. It's now $450, but if you use the code PWR15, 2 ladies can get in for $300, and that's something that you can utilize if you know you want to be a part of the Mastermind Weekend in January, okay? So just make sure that you write those 2 down. Web 15 if you want to get extra early registration, $10 off the webinar conference, and PWR 15 if you want to get $150 off the current registration rate for the Mastermind Fired Up Fire Starters Weekend, okay? So those are the updates that I wanted to share with you. Now let's jump into our session for today. So while we all have very different businesses, as you can see here, whether you post your business in the chat today or you were on Back to Business over the weekend or you're listening to our weekly Jumpstart Your Business calls, there are just so many different women doing multiple things. But we all have a common goal, and that's finding the sweet spot. The sweet spot, I'm sure you know what that is. It's that place where we each want to reach in our own way so that you feel purposeful, profitable, and at peace with yourself, right? You want to know that what you're putting out in the world is making a difference, that what you're doing is adding value not only to those around you but to yourself. You want to create a profitable business, and you ultimately want to be at peace, right? I know I do, just kind of relaxed and happy and just loving every moment of every day. And so in order for us to do that, what we need to do is find that place, that sweet spot, and tap into what needs to happen in our business to essentially get to where we want to be, okay? So before, and I was just about to jump into the next slide. Before I jump into that, I want you to do two things for me. Number one, I want you to write down the 3 things that you think you need to enter a sweet spot for yourself in your business, okay? I'm going to tell you the 3 things that I actually think you need, right? And everybody has a difference of opinion, right? But I want you, before we jump into that, I want you to write down for yourself 3 things that you think you need to get to that sweet spot in your business where it's working for you, you feel purposeful, profitable, and at peace with just about everything, okay? So I want you to write that down. And while you're writing that down, I also want you to write down a 1-word description to describe that sweet spot for yourself. And feel free to share that in the chat box with me, if you kind of want to shout that out and let people know. When I think about the sweet spot, there are a couple of things that come to mind. One, which is what I have, and I can't tell you, it's priceless. Like, I don't think I could live without it. Flexibility. Just kind of being able to do what you want to do, how you want to do it. Yesterday, I was absolutely fried. I was exhausted, just kind of recouping from Back to Business. And while I have so much on my plate, I went in that bed after my son went to school, and I didn't get out until it's time to pick him up. Being, able to have that kind of flexibility that I can say, well, you know what, today I'm going to do nothing, and then I'm going to work on everything else tomorrow. That's something that's wonderful for me. Several speakers, Akila Richards, also Rosetta Thurman, talked about how to create a profitable business and live anywhere you want in the world. I was actually watching a video with Akila yesterday, and she was talking about how she and her husband, they just had this need to be untethered and not feel like they were just kind of, held down to any particular location or mindset in the world. And so, they took the kids out of school. They're doing what she calls unschooling, where they have the flexibility to live anywhere and work anywhere, just kind of create the life that they want for themselves. And that's an absolutely amazing thing, right? Can you see that flexibility for yourself? So that's one word that I would use to describe that place of, finding that sweet spot for myself. I definitely feel like being able to have that flexibility that I have now is a sweet thing. Now, again, I want you to think about for yourself 3 things that you feel like you need to get to a sweet spot in your business, and then 1 word that you would use to describe it. For some people, that sweet spot, another word that could describe it is also abundance. Getting to a place where you've got that Oprah status and you don't have to worry about finances. Everything is just kind of taken care of. Being in a place of abundance is definitely something that I would say could really describe across multiple people what it would mean to be in a place where you feel like you're in that sweet spot. So again, I want you to think about what that looks like for you. And now I'm going to talk about what it looks like overall when it comes to sellers in general, specifically people who sell online. So what does that sweet spot look like when you are a digital entrepreneur? So first and foremost, let's talk about buyers, right? So before we are sellers, we are buyers. We're often online consumers tapping into our indulgences or getting things out of necessity. Now, you may have heard of this before, the fast, cheap, good, or fast, good, cheap equation, however you want to say it. And when you look at this equation, you can only pick two of the three, okay? And you've probably seen this before. If you haven't seen it before, I want you to take a real good look. You've got fast, good, and cheap, three different areas. And when you are a buyer, it's kind of the rule of thumb is that you can get two of these, but you can't get all of them. You can't get right in the middle, all up in here. You can't get to that sweet spot. Usually they'll say this, okay, if you get something, it can be fast and cheap, but if you get it fast and it's cheap, it probably won't be good. You can get good and fast, right? You can get an amazing product and get it done as quickly as you wanted to, but that probably won't be cheap, right? And then you can get things that are cheap and good, but if it's cheap and good, let's say I'm a web designer, right? So when it's really cheap and it's really good, chances are it ain't going to happen fast because, folks are like, okay, well, you're going to have to wait on my time because you're not paying me a lot of money to get this done, so it's going to take a while to get to what you want, right? So you have to look at it. When you're a buyer and you get a product or a service and you hit it in the middle, that sweet spot where it's fast, it's cheap, and it's good, it's like, awesome, right? It's very, very weird. I shouldn't say weird, but it's very, very rare to get to that sweet spot because, again, most times you can only pick two when it comes to being a buyer. So I want to show you what I put together because this is a well-known equation, by the way. You can go online, you can Google fast, good, and cheap, and you can see that a lot of people have talked about this as far as customer relations and even being a freelance professional and how things work. Now, I created my own equation based on what I've discovered and found in my own business and working with other entrepreneurs. So I'm going to show you what it looks like as far as the seller's sweet spot. Okay, so here's the seller's sweet spot. You've got people, profit, and posts. And most are lucky if they have two of these, okay? Now, let me explain what this looks like. Some people, they've got posts and pages, so they're bloggers, or at the very least, they've got a website. So when I say posts and pages, I mean you've got a website or a blog and you're writing content there, and you've got information to share with the world. So you can either be an entrepreneur, or you can be a blogger, you're blogging for business, you'll fall into that category. So you'll find some people, they've got pages, they're writing posts, and they have people that are coming to their website. I mean a ton of bloggers who fall into this category, but they have absolutely no profit because for all the people and for all the posts, they don't have a sufficient amount of product to sell or product that really relates to their audience enough so that it's sellable. So it's like, I'm really good at doing what I'm doing, getting people to say, yay, I love you, but I can't make any money, right? So that's one frustration. And as you're a seller, I want you to look at this and think about this and say, well, okay, do I fit into this category? Where am I? Okay? So then when you look at this equation, you've got a whole other set. You've got people who have profit potential in the sense that they've created products and services and they have a store. They've got a website, they've got a store. So they got profit potential and they have posts. So they said, okay, now I know I have to get a website. I know I need products. And I've written some stuff in my blog, but they have no people. So they're actually not tapping into their profit potential the way they need to because even though they've got the products and services and they have the posts, they don't have people to buy or people are not reading. Generally, in this situation, it's because they're not building sufficient real relationships with people. Right? They're so focused on putting together the products or just kind of doing the scientific, I know I need a blog, I know I need to write sort of a thing, that they're not really resonating with people enough, right? So there's content, there are products, but nobody's listening, okay? So then you've got this other set where they're in this situation where they have, again, products that they've created, so they've got the profit potential, and they're driving people to their website. So I've got these products, I've created it, I'm driving people to my website, I'm paying for ads, or I'm using Twitter, I'm using social media, and they send people to a place where there's no posts and there's no real content. So it's kind of like going to a website where all you see is, buy me, buy my stuff. Aren't I cool? Get it now. Get it now. But again, no real sufficient content to build relationships with people that get them interested in trying what you have, getting to know you, or doing anything that's going to eventually equate into actual customers, right? So I want you to look at this because you really have to have a perfect balance between all of these three if you want to get to the sweet spot. It's not like this one. It's not like the buyers where, fast and cheap or cheap and good or good and fast. Not like that where you got to pick two. In order for you to do this, you need all three of these to work really well together. And so what I want to do today is talk to you about that synergy and how you make that happen for yourself, okay? As I see here, Antoinette says, my one word is balance. Yes. And I think that's a perfect word because really, in order to get to this sweet spot as a seller and see balance in your business, you've got to create a balance between your profit potential, the posts and pages that you have, and the people that you are trying to reach. There has to be a perfect balance. So I think, Antoinette, your sweet spot just about sums up what I'm trying to express here. So how do you get to the sweet spot? Now, if you were listening or still listening to the Back to Business webinar replays, you'll find that all of the speakers, and there were 18 women, myself makes 19 amazing entrepreneurs trying to fuel you and feed into you, right? You'll find that a lot of us said you need to be confident, you need to be clear, you need to be consistent, and you need to be credible, right? And so when I took those 4 words and combined them together, and I want you to write this down so you can take it to heart, I created this instruction. You need to confidently share a clear and consistent message that helps to build your credibility online. You need to confidently share, not, oh my God, I'm going to put it out there, but I'm scared. Confidently share a clear and consistent message. Not, oh my God, I am a writer, I can do backflips, I can make you dinner, I can build your website. Not a all over the place, a clear and consistent message that helps to build your credibility online. That's the only way to get to that sweet spot and find that balance, right? So we're going to go into the specifics of that and where you're going to dig deeper, okay? So let's do that now. Let's dig deeper. The first part of this clarity for today is me giving you a series of questions that I want you to ask yourself. And, of course, if you guys are following along, definitely let me know in the chat area if for any reason you need me to stop or slow down or clarify. That's what, of course, the clarity session is all about, right? So first question I want you to ask yourself is this. Do you have actual products and services with real profit potential? This is a big one. This is an absolute big one because I know a lot of, quote, unquote, women entrepreneurs in the startup phase with big ideas and big dreams, but no actual products and services. I know entrepreneurs, they've got their LLC ready. They've got their tax ID number. They've even got a logo, but they don't have any actual products or services to sell. And you need to have that, right? Because in order for you to make money, you've got something, you need to have something to sell. And sometimes people, especially as a web designer, they come to me and they're so excited about just getting a website because they feel like that's in and of itself going to fuel them to have a business. But if you don't have actual products and service to sell, things are not going to flow for you, and you're not going to see that sweet spot as quickly as you want to. So here are a couple of questions that I want you to ask yourself to dig deeper when I'm talking about actual products and services. Solid profit potential. Now, there are 2 types of money that I want you to kind of separate for yourself and really think about which one of these you want. So there's one category, and I call this category extra money or new money. So This can generally be anywhere between $500 to an extra K a month. So usually this is for like 9-to-5 entrepreneurs that they've got kind of a quote-unquote side hustle and they're just trying to bring in extra money into their business, or a startup that is a bootstrap startup. I was a bootstrap startup, okay, meaning I started off on a floss string budget. So I had to start slow and kind of build my client base and just kind of make a little bit at a time, So, 500 to 1K, that's a realistic goal when you're bootstrapping it, versus when you start off and you've got either your own personal capital or investors in you. So you're not bootstrapping it and you've got enough time, money and people to jumpstart your business. Where off the gates, out of the gates, you can go from, 6 figures to multi-million-dollar company in 3 to 6 months, because again, you've got enough backing and strategy and people, manpower behind you to make that happen, okay? So most of the women, I think it's safe to say, that are in my community are bootstrapping it. So you're either in a space where you're trying to generate extra money or new money into your business. So then you want to think about for yourself, well, am I trying to make anywhere between 500 to an extra 500 to a K, get out of this business just to get the ball rolling, okay? That's one spot. Then you've got this other spot of main money, where this is the money. There's no side hustle. There's no 9-to-5. This is your primary source of income, and you're looking to start up with, as a bootstrapper, at least 30 to 90K, because you're going to put in the time, the investment, and everything else that you need to do to make that happen, to sell your actual profit potential offers, your products and services that are real and have solid profit potential. In that case, again, you're trying to make maybe about 30 to 90K, okay? So one, I want you to think about, do you have actual products, and which one of these categories would you classify yourself as being in? Somebody who's trying to make startup money or extra money versus somebody who's trying to make main business, primary income money, at least getting to fit somewhere in between 30 to 90K a year. Now, with those two different categories in mind, first try to put yourself in one of these. If you go, LaShanda, I don't fit into any of those, well, then, we need to talk. But I'm just trying to reach as many of you as I can on this session for today. So if you are in the extra money category, what does that look like for you? Well, if you're trying to make anywhere between an extra 500 to K a month, then you need to bring in somewhere between $150 to $250 a week from your business. That's a small amount that you need to bring in. But honestly, for some people, when you're starting out, that's a big amount, because you're trying to go from 0 to 250. You're like, how do I get that done, right? So for that, you want to think to yourself, what exactly am I selling here, and how many of these things do I need to sell for me to get to this point of 150 to 250 a week, right, if that 1K is your initial goal. Now, let's flip the script on the other side. If you're trying to make anywhere between 30 to 90K, you need to make somewhere between $2,500 to $8,500 a month, okay? So what does that look like for you? How many items? What are the price points of the items that you need to sell to get to that to get to that level where you're bringing in what's your quote-unquote sweet spot for your business, okay? So that's something that you need to focus on. Now, as I'm mentioning this, I want you to literally put down numbers. So, again, if you're an extra and you are, for example, you are a service professional like me, and, let's say you start off with a product and it's $50 for that product. And you say, okay, well, I want to make $250 a week. So you need to sell 5 of those, right? Every week you need to sell 5 $50 products to get to $250. Or if you're in a space where you say, okay, well, I need to bring in $4,000 for the month, then you need to bring in $1,000 a week. So what are you going to sell, and how many do you need to sell to reach those price points? I want your calculators out. I want your minds going, really thinking about your actual products and services. I like to call this my money marker session, because money markers are really what I use to get clear about how much money I need to bring into my business on a regular basis. This is an important aspect of business for me, because I found when I was starting out, I would be frustrated sometimes and say, well, I'm not making any money. I'm not making any money. Then when I looked at it, that was a lie. I was making money. That wasn't the issue. It wasn't that I wasn't making money. I wasn't making the kind of money that I wanted to make because I didn't clearly set exactly how much I wanted. So that's the first step for me, getting to that sweet spot where I was like, oh, my God, it's coming in, yay, was being clear about how much I wanted to come in versus just kind of fixating on anything coming in. Because when you're trying to focus on cents, you can't get to the thousands. You can't make cents of thousands or even millions when you're just sitting there going, ooh, make 5 come in today. Ooh, make 10 come in today, right? I just want an extra 300 today. When you focus on that, you miss the bigger picture. So I want you to think about that first, and I want to give you guys an opportunity to do that. Jay says, tons of services, working on nothing but products in 2015. Antoinette says, thank you for the focus reminder, Jay. 2015 products, absolutely. You've got to focus and figure out what exactly you want to put out there as far as what you want to happen in the next coming year. So as you're crunching those numbers for yourself, let's transition into the next question. Do you really know who you are trying to reach and why? This is important. Everybody does, for me, what I feel like is like the cart before the horse. They want to go online and they're like, okay, I need to meet people. I need to either get people that are going to give me money so I can have more money to make my business work. Or I need to get media people who are going to like get me in front of more people so I can get money and make my business work. Or I need people to go to my website and buy stuff. Why the hell aren't they going to my website and buying stuff, right? Who do you need? Who are you trying to reach and why? I think that's for a lot of people a difficult question to answer, but it's important because really it dictates the kind of activities that you participate in online and what you do on a daily basis as far as your productivity is concerned. If you're not clear on who you're trying to reach or why, you'll spend your days doing just about anything, just trying to get a result, not really clear on what kind of result it is that you're trying to get. So similar to the first question, I've divided people into 2 different types of categories. For me, I see there are one list, you've got subscribers and customers. So you're trying to reach people so that either you can engage them and they can read your content and, build a relationship with them so that ultimately they'll go from browsers to buyers eventually, right? Subscribers and customers, that's one list. And then you've got this other list. You've got media, right? So you're trying to either get connected to media publications on video, television, radio, or blog publications or people who are influencers. I guess I would be considered as an influencer online, right? So getting to meet more people who you feel like, well, if they talk about me and then other people see me through them, then I'm going to get exposure, right? So you've got, again, subscribers and customers versus media attention. You need to figure out who you're trying to reach and why. So before I get to the subscribers and customers, let me talk about the media. So what do these different types of people want? If you are a member of my Sister Sense Power Circle, I hope you had an opportunity to watch one of my tutorials. It's called How to Turn Your Video into a PR Marketing Machine. And I talk about using video to market your business. One of the things I talk about is how video marketing has helped me get media attention. And media, honestly, all day, every day, they're out there online and they're looking for great stories, okay? So they want stuff that, and I love that Jay's on the call. Media, they want stuff that's amazing, right, as Jay puts it. They want things that are absolutely amazing because they're just looking for great stories to talk about. Now, here's the thing about it. Unless you're the it girl and you're the trending girl that everybody wants to talk about, like, Kim Kardashian just got married to Kanye West, and oh, my God, they had a baby, and they'll pay like $15 million or a picture of the baby's toe, media is not trying to pay you, okay? And that's just real talk. Unless you are the trending it girl that everybody wants to see, media is not trying to pay you. So you're not going to monetize it that way, where, oh, media is going to pay me to be in front of them. No, they're really not. More often than not, media is looking for great stories, and they may pull you for whatever reason but they're probably not going to pay you for it. They're like, look, be happy that you're getting this media exposure and figure out how to use it to the best of your ability, okay? Make sure you get that done. And so Jay says, they sure the hell don't. They don't. They really don't. They're not trying to pay you for not a nickel nor a dime, okay? So it's important that when you are trying to say to yourself, okay, well, I need media right now, you have to say, why? Are you ready for media right now? Do you have something to push so that at the minute you get in front of the camera, you're like, yes, Lord, I need 1 million to see me so I can push this real product or service? This is important. I want to say about a week or two ago, I was talking to a client, and she wanted to get clear about her vision and how she could market herself and use her blog, because she said, you know, LaShanda, I did things backwards. Last year, I focused on media. I went out. She was like, I got on television. I got in newspapers. And I ain't made no money because I didn't have anything to sell. And, I mean, really, that's the reality of the situation. You can get buzz. It won't necessarily translate into anything for you if you don't have anything real to offer, right? So you want to know that if Oprah calls tomorrow, you're going up there and you're selling your cupcakes or your T-shirts or your women's empowerment, whatever. You're clear on what it is that you're selling, because that's the only way media is going to help you to further monetize. It's just to leverage it, either because you get that minute, that second, not even a minute, that second to be in front of millions, if not thousands, if not millions of people, or then you can say, oh, wow, look at all these wonderful places I've been on to boost your credibility. If you're interested in media, that's the reality of the situation. Media buzz does not monetize for you. You've got to figure out how to monetize it for you, okay? Now, let's talk about people and subscribers and potential customers, right? They are also looking for great stories, but that's kind of like an entry point for them. They look for great stories. They look for people who are talking about things that resonate so that they can get an entry point and build a relationship with you, hopefully over time. Right? It may just be that they see one good thing and then leave, but you don't really want that to happen. You want them to be able to stick around on an ongoing basis. So the key when it comes to media, great stories, exposure, leverage that either for more exposure or credibility. When it comes to subscribers and customers, great stories as an entry point, but you're building a relationship because ultimately they want to know you're there to help them fix a problem. I heard this really great statement, and I felt like, it was so true, that entrepreneurs by nature are humanitarians. And I thought, that's an interesting way to look at us. I thought we were, most people say entrepreneurs, they want to make money. They're all about the money. But, this one particular person, very thoughtful, said, entrepreneurs are really humanitarians because when you think about it, we are here to try and create things that help people live their best lives, improve their best lives. Entrepreneurs, they're always trying to come up with a solution to fix something, to make people live, look, feel, grow, do better. And so by nature, that's the humanitarian us, right? And so when you think about what you're trying to accomplish as an entrepreneur in all clarity, what are you trying to offer to people? And do you know the ideal person you're trying to reach? Who is that person, and how are you trying to reach them? What exactly are you trying to offer? So I want to talk about a couple of ways that entrepreneurs online try to make connections with other people, and which ones I feel work and which ones don't work as far as generating PayPal profits. So are you using the right methods to connect with the people? So here are a couple of methods I want you to think about. And if you are guilty of any of these, raise your hand. If you are, blessed to do any of the good ones, raise your hand, be proud of it, because, there's some things we do right, some things we do wrong. As an entrepreneur, you got to learn how to fall on your face, get back up, and keep it moving, right? So here's the first one. Some folks, some entrepreneurs are out there trying to sell by price alone. Ooh, look at me. I'm so cheap. Come to me. I'm the cheapest on the block. You're not going to get anything cheaper than me. Come to me. Look at me. It's 5 off today. It's 30 off today. It's 50 off today. Some people are trying to connect with people, but strictly just on price. So remember when I showed you that equation of price, people, and profit, where, you know, even though they're driving traffic to their place and they've got products and services, they don't have posts, they don't have pages, they don't have nothing to really build relationships. They're just trying to sell on price alone, and it doesn't work, right? It just doesn't work. So if you find yourself in that discount a day abyss, that rabbit hole, you want to get out of it real quick, because that's not the way to make connections, and that's not going to help you get to the sweet spot. Then you've got other people who focus on perception. Look how important I look. Look how great I am. Look how much I'm doing. And they've got all this stuff that they want you to see on the surface, right? But they don't have the strategies in place to actually take that and translate into revenue. So you don't want to put yourself in a space where you are constantly focused on a combination of perception and for perfection. It's got to look a certain way so that people think I'm a certain way, because, I mean, I work on a ton of websites for people who every day they want me to push the T left. They want me to make it purple. They wanted me to make it blue. They want me to show 15 pictures of people who they met in the last 3 days. So focused on perfection and perception and never on actual posts or actual products that generate into profit. So that's something that you don't want to do either. You don't want to fixate on perception. Look at me, I'm so great. But the substance behind it, it's just smoke and mirrors. It's not there. Now, then you got the pleases. Oh, good Lord, the pleases. Look how much it is. I desperately need you. Can you please take a look at this today? Can you please buy this today? Can you please tell me what you think today? Please, 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 please. I always say, don't say please, just please, okay? As an entrepreneur, as a professional, folks don't want to see desperate. It's like that dude that's like desperate for a date. Like, you know, really and truly, you ever notice that nobody wants you until you got somebody? And then everybody come around, it's like they sniff it. They like, ooh, you're taken. I want you. But when you don't have nobody and you just kind of give off this aura of desperation, everybody's like, ooh, please, step away. No. So, you know, you definitely don't want to be in this space where you're consistently begging and begging and begging people, and sometimes you don't even realize it. You know, you just have to be conscious of that. Before you say please, just please. Don't try and focus on the cash before quality content, being consistent, confident, and credible, okay? Don't focus on the cash before that stuff, because it just doesn't work. So this is what you need to do, right? Because I said before you say please, just please. Focus on the pleasing aspect of it. And you want to think to yourself, are you telling people, look, I get you. I got you. I've been where you've been, so let's go through this together. That combination of statements, if you can hold a hand and work with it and rock with it, that's what gets people excited to go from to ooh, which I'm going to talk about next, the ooh factor, right? You got to be able to show people that you get them, you've got them, you've been through what they've been through, and you are ready to help them get to where they need to be in one way, shape, or form. That's the only way they're going to say, I get you. Because another thing that I like to say is that before people will buy what you sell, they have to buy what you say. And if it's just please, 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 or I'm the cheapest person on the block, or really can't you tell I'm the best person, look how pretty I look, that's not going to help you. You've got to get into the meat of the potatoes. And I'm going to actually show you how I get that done in my business in just a second. So I talked about those pleases, those P's. Another question that you need to ask yourself, and once I get you to kind of think about these questions, I'm going to move into the 3 strategies that I think are really going to help you knock this stuff out. Do your offers have that ooh factor? Okay? So what does that mean? Ooh, I like it. I want you to think about the last couple of things that you have purchased online. A couple of them you might have purchased out of necessity, but let's be real, ladies. Some of the things are just impulse buys or impulse tries, like, this is really great, and I think this is going to help me on one-way level, so I wasn't thinking about it, but I'm going to get this. Ooh, this looks good. I'm going to get this. Do your offers have that ooh factor? Because if they don't, unless people really, really, really need them and they're desperate for them, they're not going to buy them. Okay? It's one or the other. People buy out of want or necessity. So unless they're really like, I'm in a pinch, I don't know nobody else, I got to get it really desperate. And so that's something you want to think about as well. You don't want to put yourself in a position where you never sell, right? And some women are afraid to sell. So you want to just, I just can't find people who just come to the site, see it, and love it, and buy it. That's really what sellers want, that perfect customer. You actually have to give them that ooh factor where once they see it, they're like, damn, this is too good for me not to pass up. You've got to build that ooh factor for yourself, right? And so let me show you what that looks like. We're going to work on your ooh and your woo. This is where you should focus, right? This is where your focus should be. Because all of the things that, we talk about, whether it be, social media or anything else that you could possibly do online, unless you've got these three right here, it's just not going to work. Because remember, I told you, you need profit potential, you need people, and you need those posting pages. They got to work in a wonderful balance. I love that Antoinette said her sweet spot, that word for her was balance, because that's what you need. Number one, you've got to create a honey blog with kick-ass content. It's got to be there. Right now, I want to say for the last 4 to 6 weeks, I've just been focused on Jumpstart Your Business calls, the weekly calls that we do inside the circle. I've just been focused on content creation. Because guess what? If you put the cart before the horse and you try to focus on attention, so you're driving a whole bunch of people to a site that don't got nothing on it, or you're trying to focus on the products, so you're creating, you're the idea creator. You're creating all these damn products every day, but still nobody's coming to the site and nobody's buying it. You're missing the mark, because what you really need is a honey blog with kick-ass content. And so when you've got that space, and I'm going to talk about some examples of what I mean with that, then you don't say please, you just please people. They take notice because they're looking at all the material you have and they're going, oh, well, she's not trying to beg me for a sale. She's not trying to be the cheapest girl on the block. She actually got some shit that I need to see right here. This is some kick-ass content. You're pleasing them, and they take notice, whether they're media, whether they're subscribers or potential customers. They take notice when the quality and the kick-assness is there. Now, in combination of doing these two things, remember I said there are bloggers, there are a ton of bloggers online that don't make no damn money. And listen, I've been on the phone with a couple of them, and they'll go, oh, my God, this is not working for me. I know some well-known bloggers, especially in the beauty industry, where, all day, every day, they're getting products left, right, and center, and everybody's like, oh, my God, she's a noteworthy blogger, because everybody wants her advice on fashion and hair and clothing. And these same bloggers are on the phone with me like, LaShanda, I'm not making anything. Because, again, media don't want to pay you ish. They just want you to write amazing stories for them. So, great. Write about my new hair product. Write about those great jeans that make your butt look big. But just be happy that you can tell people you're writing for us because we're a big name. Don't ask us for no money because we ain't giving you no money. And I've spoken to, there's one person in particular, she is a writer, and she's written for several big magazines. And she said, girl, let me tell you, for some of these magazines, you're lucky if you get $20 to $30 if you write something. You're lucky because they're not giving it. They really just want to find bloggers who are just happy to get some swag, and, that's as good as it gets. So whether you are focused on customers, subscribers, or media, you've got to consistently share great offers that people can't refuse. So you're not looking for the wrong types of monetization where you're either just kind of saying, please, let me just, if I put it up there, please, Lord, let them click it. Lord, let them click it. Let them buy. You're just begging either subconsciously or literally. I see people on Facebook like, please, this is the last day we're going to put this out there. Try. You can't do that. It has to be an offer that people can't refuse, right? And if they refuse it, then you go, hey, it's gone, boo-boo. Sorry. on to the next thing, right? You got to get that ooh and that woo so that everything works well for you, okay? So before I jump into the strategy, I want to just give you a sense of how that ooh and that woo has worked for me over the last several years. I've been working online for over 10 years. I've been working at home for myself for the last 6 years. Over that time, it's been an amazing ride. I've been able to get featured in Essence, in Ebony Magazine. My Black Businesswoman Online social network has been in Social Media Marketing for Dummies, the screenshot and everything. Look at this great network she created and how she built that community. You know, I've been on UNC TV. I've been at the Blog Expo. Listen, I've been able to do all of this stuff on my blog just from the ooh and the woo. Nothing else. The ooh and the woo, right? You know, whether it be Disney paying for me to go to their stuff and just be a magical mocha mom and tell my tribe about what they were doing over at Disney, or Black Enterprise. I've gone to at least 3 events that they say, LaShanda, come out and please tell your people about it. Ooh, ooh, ooh. The ooh and the woo, that is where it comes from. And so I'm going to show you how I make this happen for myself, because there's one truth that I think that people always talk about, but there's a flaw in it. So I want to talk about 3 power steps to PayPal profits and what it really takes to make money online. Number 1, consistent content creation is hard as hell. And this is the flaw that I want to talk about. Everybody tells you, you have to be consistent online. You have to be consistent online, right? And then you go, well, I did it for 3 days and I hate it. I'm ADD. There is absolutely nothing that I can do for 3 days straight and then turn it into, 20 or 30 or 50 days. It just does not work for me. It's so hard for me to do anything on a consistent basis. I tell you, it's absolutely horrible. It's horrible. And I want to be real about that, because I don't want to simply say be consistent and you try it and it doesn't work. Also, the flip side of that is when you get in your own head and you knock yourself out of consistency. Meaning you say, okay, yeah, girl, I'm going to do this blog thing. I'm a blog. I'm a blog. I'm going to do that podcast thing. Charvette said do that. I'm going to do that podcast thing. Listen, there's somebody I've got in mind. They said, okay, I'm going to podcast. I'm going to do that every single day for the next year. I think they got about 3 days in before that just did not work at all. Because consistency is hard, either just because you've got a whole bunch of stuff going on, or you get into your own head and you're like, oh, it's been 3 days. I'm not on Oprah yet. I don't want to do this no more. It's been 3 days. They ain't by yet. I don't want to do this no more. And I love this. I was recently listening. No, I wasn't listening. I was being interviewed. I was on the Lori and Cher show about a week ago. And this great quote that Lori shared, she said, never compare your start to somebody else's middle. And I was like, oh, shit, that's a keeper right there. That's a power truth right there. So you're sitting here and you're going, LaShonda's been online for over 10 years. I've been online for 2 minutes, and I'm comparing what I'm doing to what she's doing. Come on, you're psyching yourself out, right? You can't compare your start to somebody else's middle, especially when everybody's telling you you've got to be consistent, and then you're psyching yourself out because you're like, shit, I said I was going to do this every day, and I just can't get the job done. So here is my secret, right, to faking consistency. Instead of aiming to do something and put out something every single day, aim to create consistent spurts of great content, okay? So here are 3 examples that I can give, and I've been doing this for years. Everything that I tell you is just kind of the foundation of who I am. If you go on Sister Sense and if you go on Sister Sense and you look for the Web Tech Talks series, Web Tech Tools and Talk series, I did this in 2010. It's old, and you get to see me when my locks were like half as long, but it's great stuff. It's 90 days of technology, web tools, and talk. And I said, you know what? Damn it, I need to do this blogging thing more often. I just can't do it. So I'm going to sit here, and I'm going to knock this out. And I think I honestly did it in about 3 days. I did 90 videos, and no, they weren't an hour long. They were like anywhere between 3 to 10 minutes long. And I was like changing my shirt, like, camera change. Where's the tissue? Get the new outfit on. I was just like crazy about it. But the goal was that for 90 days, I wanted to consistently share quality content as far as letting people know my thoughts on technology, tools, and just startup small business talk. Oh, my God, that was huge, right? And it wasn't the first time. Well, that was the first time, but it wasn't the last time that I did something like that. So I said to myself, I can't sit here and every single day blog or every single day do video. But if I knock this out and create great content and then schedule it out for 90 days, at least I know that I'm doing something amazing. It helped to build my list. People were excited about it. And then I didn't feel bad, right? Because one of the things, and I'm going to just kind of go off on a tangent here, thinking about Valerie Burton. She was one of the speakers for the Back to Business Webinar Conference. Her current book is Get Unstuck, Be Unstoppable. The last one was Happy Women Live Better. And she said, you know what, even though today we as women, there are more things that we can do, we are on top of the world, we are less happy, and a part of that is because we feel so much pressure. And we feel like we're not doing as much as we should do. We feel like we're not accomplishing as much. And so we're putting all this stuff on ourselves, and it gets real heavy, and it affects our ability to be happy. And so for me, as somebody who wanted to consistently blog for business and start my business, again, I'm talking about the Web Tech Tool series back in 2010, I felt like crap because I was like, every time I said, I'm going to blog, I'm going to do it every day, I just couldn't do it. So for me, creating that 90-day series and knocking that out, man, that was a real good booster for me because I knew that whether I blogged or not, that stuff was going out and I was good. Another one you can check out on SistaSense is Monetize Your Blog, the 30-Day Challenge. I think I did that 2 years ago. Jumpstart Your Business calls, the weekly calls, I started that a year and a half ago. And even though I consistently do it on a weekly basis, it's a spurt for me because it's just every week for 1 hour, get in, talk to the ladies, have a great time, and get out. For me to do it every single day or for me to write on my blog every single day, these are just things that cannot work for me. So, I don't want to be one of those people who go, yeah, girl, you need to do this all day, every day. You need it because it's just not real. There are just things that prevent us from making that happen. So if you want to be able to create that sweet spot for yourself, find a way to consistently have spurts of great content that you can integrate into your business, okay? So before I say anything else, I want you to just kind of sit here and write down some ideas of really great things that you've been saying. I really want to do this. I want to have this ongoing ... I want to talk about this in more more detail, especially for those of you who say, well, I could write a 3-page essay in an email, LaShanda. How do I avoid this feeling of wanting to give them everything all at once? Well, hell, break it into a series. What do you really, really, really want the world to know, and how can you break that down into something that is more manageable? That's a really important one that I want you guys to think about. And while I give you an opportunity to do that, you can shout me out. You can let me know if you've got some ideas of things that you want to do. Or real talk, if consistency is hard for you, let me know, right? Think about all these things that you want to do. How much of it were you able to do in 2014, right? Because I know some of y'all are like me and you love to create ideas. How many of these ideas are you able to actually implement because you're trying to get it done, but somehow it's just not working? Okay, so that was number one. Number two, do less talking at people and more talking to them, okay? Create shareable communities full of shareable content. It's great to talk at people. That's what blogs are for, right? It's a one-to-many situation where you're putting your best out there. People are coming, they're engaging with you, and you're building a community and a tribe around that. But that's just the first step. In order for you to be profitable online, in order for you to see those PayPal profits on a consistent basis to get to that sweet spot, you need other people that are talking to you and talking about you. And so having a community, having a shareable community full of shareable content is going to help you build your brand. So you're not the only person doing it. Like if I could recap back to business, one of the speakers talked about having ambassadors. Kamika Smith, who is the creator of the Boss Network. So it's funny, I'm talking about communities, and she's creator of the Boss Network. And she's got amazing tribe behind her. In addition to having that social community at thebossnetwork.org, she also has ongoing events that, are really fruitful for her and successful for her. She's been able to work with many of the big names that I've worked with, Ebony and Black Enterprise, and the list goes on, because of having that tribe, having that shareable community around her that goes, oh, my goodness, she's a boss. The Boss Network is boss. You need to be about it. You need to be a part of it. For me, 2 examples of this, and I love to give examples because then, you have an opportunity to think about some things that are realistic for you, right, and how you can apply these things to your business. One, the Sister Sense Power Circle, for me, is a great shareable community with shareable content. I've been really happy in between me falling asleep these past couple of days, just being exhausted and recouping from the event. But every time I wake up and I see a ping and I go on the Facebook community, or, I get an email from you guys and you're talking about, oh, I met this new person. I just got off the phone with this person. I'm so excited. I'm talking to Rochelle. I'm talking to Jay. I'm talking to Dr. Venus. I'm talking to, Charvette. All of these wonderful connections that you're making. Or I'm listening to Rosetta. Oh, I just discovered that Evita and Ariel, they do crowdfunding, all of these things, because the Power Circle is a shareable community with shareable content. And one of the things that I feel like I've been blessed with is the fact that people will say, well, real talk, I met these people through LaShanda. I met them through Sister Sense. And, when they say that, then people go, what's Sister Sense and who's LaShanda? And that connection, that helps to grow my business, because I'm talking to my community and not just talking at them. I created Sister Sense Talks, which was kind of like my introduction to having more conversations with my community several years ago, and it's definitely something that has helped it grow, as well as the BBWO Social Network for Women Entrepreneurs at mybbwo.com. I work both communities together in tandem. Sister Sense is predominantly for training and connections, but then the BBWO network is a social network community, right? It's like our Facebook, grown folks Facebook, I think Pam is how she described it. But it's both of these communities help my business grow, because I'm not the only person talking about what I'm doing every day. And you can't be the only person doing that for yourself, right? So in addition to having that great content, remember I talked about posts and pages, you need people, right? Not only do you need the subscribers and the customers and the media, but you need the fans. You need a tribe of people who are going to go out there and talk about you. And so you've got to think to yourself, what kind of community can I realistically create based on my time, based on my interest, based on my skill set, based on my budget, based on my finances? What level of community can I put together to at least engage people enough so that I'm not just always talking at them and telling them what I think, but hearing what they think and giving them a platform to speak as well, because that's going to help you. I can tell you that even though I am an introvert, again, you will find your tribe is made up of most of the people who are like you. There are a lot of introverted entrepreneurial women who come to me because they connect with me. Me saying that I was just a typer and not a talker and that I didn't want to talk, I didn't stay in that space. Eventually I had to evolve and just get the hell out there and start talking, because in talking, that helped me gain exposure, but also helped me gain knowledge. Every time I do clarity sessions and work with the mentees in the circle, when you all tell me what you need, I learn so much from those experiences. So you've got to be able to have that for yourself. Number 2, do less talking at people and do more talking to them. Definitely a big one. Number 3, add some buzz to your honey blog. Create buzz-worthy, brand-specific initiatives. Forgive me, there should be a Y. Create buzz-worthy, brand-specific initiatives. I know that's a mouthful, but let me explain what that means to me. So these two examples are actually from the Sister Sense magazine annual feature. Sister Sense magazine, which you can find at mag.sistersense.com, is the magazine that I self-publish. It's my blog to magazine, basically using my blog content and putting it in print because I basically wanted, narcissistic me. I wanted to be on the front of my own cover. No, not just that. I wanted to be able to put that content in print. For some of us, we love digital, and I also love books, and being able to hold the magazine and see the writing is definitely a great feeling. Now, a couple of things that I do on an ongoing basis, as most of you have seen, the Back to Business Power Circle is number one. That's something that I do every year. This is the third annual Back to Business, branded as such, but it's actually the fourth one I'm doing in that series. And then the BBWO 50 Fabulous Women Entrepreneurs. Every year on my Network for Women, I create a list of 50 fabulous women entrepreneurs that are doing amazing things who happen to be members of my bbwo.com. And I spotlight them in the magazine. And so you have to think to yourself, well, outside of me spotlighting me, right? Like, ooh, look how cute I looked when I was speaking at the Blog World Expo, or when I was, let's backtrack here real quick. Let me go back to that pic. Because sometimes we do this, and we do this way too much. I wanted to just kind of give you, like a sense of media, but rather than me always doing this, right? You don't always see me tell you guys, oh, look, this is when I was at Black Enterprise and I met Lisa Price, or when I spoke, or, when I was in Essence. These are things that you see, but beyond those things, I want to be able to showcase other people in the community, and I want to be able to give you things that you can hold on to on an annual basis, right? So doing that, being able to expand the brand for myself, required me to come up with these annual and in some cases semi-annual initiatives that were brand specific for myself. And I say brand specific because Back to Business, I mean, you've probably heard the term before, but Back to Business Power Circle, that's how I describe it. So when people hear Back to Business, it's coming back again, they know exactly what I'm talking about because they know what the Sister Sense Back to Business Circle looks like. Or BBWO 50. I don't always have to say BBWO 50 fabulous, but I can say, hey, she was on BBWO 50, and people know what it's like. Just like if I say Essence Festival, you probably know what that is, right? Because you've heard about it, and it's a brand association that you've made for yourself. So you've got to think about, for your business, whether you're using social media platforms or self-publishing platforms, how can you create brand-specific initiatives that add buzz to your honey blog outside of you just simply telling people about the things that you're doing or where you've been featured. You want to be able to extend the brand to talk about other people and other things as well, right? So that's a really big, big part of the process. I love going on Facebook. I love all the photos, but, I laugh when I see photo after photo after photo of people going, oh, look how great I look. This is my new it look for the year. And then they come and they say, okay, well, girl, I need to talk to you about my new monetization look for the year. The focus should be on the monetization. I hardly post anything of me. And, I try to be as cute as I can be. But really, for me, it's about the content. I could take or leave the cute. I really focus on creating that buzzworthy content that people go, wow. And doing Back to Business, I've been on several interviews. I just got an email, can we honor you in North Carolina business women? And all of this because people are seeing the tweets and, oh, my God, I didn't know this person was on the panel or this and that. When you have buzzworthy, brand-specific initiatives, people take notice of that because they're excited about seeing that you're talking about something bigger than yourself and your business, and that is an important part of the process as well, okay? So I want you to be ready to find your sweet spot. Try these 3 power steps. I want you to create a series of quality content on your site. No, you do not have to blog every day. Definitely watch that video I did on how you can turn your blog into a PR marketing machine, especially with respect to video marketing, like I did with the web tech tools and technology 90 days. But you don't have to do it all day, every day. If you can be strategic about creating spurts of quality content, that can help you. Definitely just a boost. And guess what? I don't feel mad or I don't feel bad at the folks who are full-time hardcore bloggers and they can blog all day, every day, because blogging is their business. And you have to differentiate those people who are blogging because blogging is their business versus when you are blogging for business. Blogging is not my business. I'm a service professional first, and I also mentor women. So, and I don't consider myself a coach either. I never say I coach people. I mentor women because they come and they say, LaShanda, can you please help me? So I mentor women. But at the heart of the day, I am a service professional. I'm a web designer. So when I write on my blog or post material, it's because I'm blogging for business, not because blogging is my business. As such, I don't feel bad about this idea that I need to blog all the time because that doesn't apply to me, right? And you need to think about, does it apply to you? Or are you feeling bad? And I'm sure some people here are like, oh, I can't blog all the time. I feel horrible because of that. Do you feel bad because you can't blog all the time? But honestly, you don't necessarily have to blog all the time. It just can't be watered down. It can't be wishy-washy. It can't be scientific. Like I mentioned before, the people who have products and services and they write on their blog, but they still have no people. If nobody's listening, it's not engaging enough. You're not creating strong enough connections. And keep in mind, when I did the web technology and talk series, I didn't say, well, let me do three videos on technology and talk and put it out there. Oh, I did it, yay, because I get that. And I love when people are excited about that, right? Because it's good because you want to get your feet wet. But when you want it to be amazing, I had to do 90 days. I had to step up my game. I had to, I had to go and find people to interview when I did successful system profiles or when I did my 30-day blog starter kit. Whether it be audio, video, or text, I had to step up the game when I was only doing spurts because in order for it to be noticeable, it had to stand out. It could have been just one or two things, and then that was it for like 4 months. That was just not going to work. Again, start a community for your tribe. You want to think about what platform could potentially work for you. And then last but not least, use social media or self-publishing platforms to expand your brand. Creating the Sister Sense in print magazine, it's something that I definitely wanted to do. In the beginning, I wanted to just get to 6 months. I said to myself, LaShanda, can you do this for 6 months straight? Because you cannot commit to anything. You suck at it. So I tried my best, and I did the first 6 months. And then after that, I took a nap for like 6 months. I was like, I'm not doing this. But I didn't feel bad. And when I do things, I always let you guys know because I'm human. I'm not a robot. If you go on Sister Sense, you probably can read the article. It's called Breaking But Not Broken. I took a break. And so now I do Sister Sense magazine on a quarterly basis. Hell, if it only comes out twice a year, look, it came out twice a year. Woohoo! Mama's got other things to do. But the reality is I use it consistently to expand my brand. And when I put out a new issue, it's a great issue and people get excited about it. So, again, creating a series, creating a community, or utilizing social media or self-publishing, these are things that are going to help you to create that consistency. That's number one. Attract people, and then through the consistency and the people and giving them quality offers. Because trust me, the more you talk to your tribe, the more you write for them, create videos for them, goodness gracious, the more you just be with them and less by yourself, the better your business will get. And that's an important one. Because if you're in a situation where you are a tribe of one, and yes, you're writing or you're coming up with ideas or you're listening to other people, either me or other people on calls, and you're still in your head, you're never really going to get what you want to that, as far as that sweet spot is concerned, until you do more interaction with customers, more interaction with your peers and your associates. Me getting on the phone with Rochelle or Jay or any one of these ladies. Honestly, interacting with them, that's how we have power sessions. That's how we break shit down and we get clear about what we need to do next. I mean, that really is the heart of it for me as far as PayPal profits and power moves, how you can find that sweet spot for yourself. Now, I've had you guys be a little bit quiet, right, because I'm trying to give you this clarity and basically, give you a better sense of all the things that you possibly could be doing. What are the things that I think you should be focused on, right? If you've got all these ideas and platforms and solutions and strategies and mythologies and people, and you can follow, create the content, focus on real products and services, better understand the people you're trying to reach. And to me, that's ultimately, that should be your core. So like I mentioned before, consistent content creation can be hard. I'll tell you, like I told you, if I could do something like for 5 days straight, I'm like, oh my God, yay. I like give myself a super, super pat on the back because I know that it's hard. But I've given you some recommendations of how I realistically get it done for myself. If you need me, I can help you if you want me to. Of course, inside this is a Send Circle, like I mentioned before, for the last 4 to 6 weeks, all we've been talking about is content creation. So if you go to sistersense.com/tutorials, you can click that link that says creation content tips, and you can just dive in, right? But also, I've got the inside, this is Sense Firestarter Circle that is going to be happening in January. The Firestarter Mastermind Weekend is from January 16th to the 18th at the Aloft Hotel in Chapel Hill. Consistency for me, really and truly, I live, breathe, and speak. I don't tell you guys some shit that I made up. I live this. Spurts. So once a year, every year, and I've been doing this since 2012, right? So 2015, goodness gracious, the people that work at the Aloft, they remember when my son was, knee high. Every year you go to the Aloft. I don't want to go anywhere else. I don't want to tell people, let's go to Jamaica, let's go to Cancun. I like to keep it consistent for myself in that sense. It's an amazing space. It's a great time. January 16th to the 19th at the Aloft Hotel in Chapel Hill. 3 days to fire up your posts, your people, and your profit skills. That's basically what we are going to be focused on because, again, of all the things that you can do and you might want to do, I think this is what you should focus on. So day one, we're going to be focused on blogging for business. And ultimately, I'm going to show you the Greek mythology, no, the methodology, there we go, the methodology that I use to create 90 days of content for myself. And like I said, I've been doing this since 2010. To create 90 days of posts using my blogging system for business entrepreneurs. We're going to sketch out and schedule 90 days worth of content for your blog. Now, keep in mind, 90 days is a whole lot of stuff, but I told you I did it in 3 days. Now, I don't think that you guys are going to be like me. I'm not going to try and have you create me, but I'm going to show you how to do this to fit yourself. And we're actually going to start this in November because November, December, and January, I'm going to have 3 pre-conference, well, it's not a conference, it's a mastermind. I'm going to have 3 pre-mastermind calls so that you guys can prepare for when we actually get together in January, right? So I'm not just going to be like, yay, 90 days, we're going to do it in 1 day, whoosh. There's some preparation that goes to putting this system together, and I want you to have a couple of months to work on that so that we can really power through it in January. And it's fun. I love seeing all of you guys here. It's great to actually have Jay on the call. She was actually a part of, right, the first one that I did at the Aloft in 2012. My God. And I'm going back to my roots. So this is a small group. It's 10 women. I'm pushing it at 15. I did after we did the Back to Business, I said, okay, extra early bird seats are $250, and those are all gone. So, I'm really going to push it to 10 to 15, but I want it to be a small enough space for you to feel like you're getting one-on-one with me, and that's what we're going to be focused on day number 1. Day number 2 is more clicks, more cash. I love it when I say I'm tongue-tied, and you guys are probably used to that. It's like the branding phrase from LaShanda. I'm tongue-tied, but it happens. Day 2, more clicks, more cash. How to set up a 12-month newsletter using my smart and simple newsletter system. We are going to sketch out and schedule your monthly newsletter to keep your customers in the loop for the whole year. I've been doing this for at least the last 3 years, and it's worked really, really well for me. I sketch out my newsletter. I put it out there, and so that, yes, I send out live newsletter emails and updates every week, but if I don't want to, I don't have to, because I do have monthly automated systems in place that work for me. So that's really the key here. When you've got things working for you that are automated, it allows you to free up yourself so you don't feel like you have to put stuff out there all the time. This is basically to give you kind of like a 90-day, you've got that social media working for you in the background, whether you're working on it or not. And again, these are just things that I've been able to implement for myself, and this is the first time I'm going to be sharing it at this level. I've never actually done that part of it before. I've given people pieces of it, but never this much. Day 3, blog to mag. So one of the things that I love is being able to repurpose my material, right? And so I talk about how you can create a blog post and turn the blog into a video, then turn the video into an audio, then put it all in a magazine and say, here, look, it's great. So, for those of you who have been asking, and I've gotten a lot of requests, LaShanda, can you help me do my magazine? No. It takes me so long to do my magazine, I can't do anybody else's. But I can show you my template and help you put together your own. So creating your own brand magazine using my blog to mag system, we're going to produce and publish a print digital combination that you can sell, or you can use to expand your brand visibility. So for example, when I create my conferences, or if somebody has a great event and I go to as a vendor, it's like, what do you sell when you're a service professional and you don't have any tangible products? And people ask me that all the time. My table is always full because I've got the magazines, which are just print replications of my digital content. I've got CDs. I've got pens. I've got all this great stuff. So it's possible to expand your brand, and whether you're using it for profit or promotion, a magazine is a great way to do that. So basically, we're going to be taking your content, and I'm going to help you be creative. I'm going to help you get through it so that you can break it down and then use it for material for your newsletter, for your blog, and also to create this amazing publication that you can brand for yourself and just kind of put it in somebody's hand and say, this is my business, this is my passion, this is what I do, love it, right? So those are the 3 days, and like I said before, we're going to start at the 3rd week in November is when we're going to do our first pre-prep call, then another one in December, and then another one in January. So you're going to have 3 preps. They're going to be between 60 and 90 minutes long, like today, because today is well over close to 90 minutes, to make sure that you guys have everything that you need to be able to come to the Aloft Hotel at Chapel Hill for us to kind of go through the content. And so it's not going to be presentation style. I should say that, right? It's not going to be me up there, because Jay remembers, and she can attest to it. I did She Rocks the Web in 2012. I did a ton of presentations. By day 2, I lost my voice because I was straight training. This is not straight training. This is straight implementation, so that by the time you get there, we're going to have enough preparation for me to just go through the blueprints that I have, show you my maps, so that you can focus on sketching, scheduling, and actually putting the stuff in there, scheduling the stuff out, so that you'll be able to say, okay, yes, I've got that information ready to go, it's out there, and I can work on the next thing. So those are the 3 days that's what's going to be happening, and we're going to kick things off as soon as possible. The 3 prep sessions start in November. Plus, when you register, you get access to the weekly Jumpstart Your Business calls. Inside the Suspense Circle, you get a 90-day access pass. Plus, you get bonus registration because, as I mentioned before, one of the saddest parts of doing this for me, as amazing as the Fire Circle is that I won't have all of my Power Circle speakers out with me. I always love to do the Power Circle at the beginning of the year with my amazing ladies. Jay Stone comes out, Pam Perry, Rochelle Shaw. All these amazing women come out, and we have such a great time. And we're still going to have a great time, and I don't want to lose that element. So we're going to have Fierce, Focused, and Fired Up, a webinar workshop with, and I'm not going to tell you guys the speakers yet, but you'll find out soon enough. So you also get registration to that included when you register for the full 3 days of the Fire Starter Weekend. Again, I mentioned this at the beginning of the call, but definitely write these two down. Web 15. If you just want to be a part of the live webinar conference and you want to extra early register, you know I always have amazing speakers for y'all. So you can extra early register before I even tell you who the speakers are. You can use the code WEB15 to get $10 off the live webinar conference that's happening on January 10th. Now, if you also want to be a part of the 3-day mastermind, extra early birds at $250 are gone, but I've got this code, PWR15. Right? And 2 ladies can use that to register for $300 because right now it's $450 for the 3 days, which is nothing because I went to a New York conference. It was 2 days, and I spent like $700. I was like, it's crazy. It's a big event, expensive. But $450 is nothing for all that we're going to be doing. But I definitely want you to be out there, and you can use the code PWR15 if you were like, damn it, I can't believe I missed extra early. But those are the last 2 at that rate because, again, we've got to keep it moving to be fierce, focused, and fabulous. So all the information about this is at powercircleconference.com. That's what I feel that you guys need to do. Again, if you're interested in PayPal profits and power moves, focus on the people you're trying to reach, what actually you're trying to sell, so creating real products and services that have solid profit potential, then ultimately your posts and your pages, right? You know, having what I like to call that honey blog. You know, folks say, why do you call it a honey blog? Because honey is sticky and you want people to come on and stick to it and go, oh my God, it's sweet, I love it. My mother used to call me Pooh Bear when I was a baby. She still does. She calls me her Pooh. And, you know, just the chunk of loving honey sweetness and sticky gluiness of, you know, being Pooh. That's what the honey blog is all about. So think about that. Think about some things that you can strategically do. I'm all about DIY, so you can take the ideas that I've given you guys today and definitely run with it. But like I said, if you look at all the ideas that you have, all the things that you want to implement, if you go through your notebook or your mind and you're like, oh, my God, when am I actually going to get this stuff done? That's all the more reason to be inside the Fire Starter Circle because we're going to do it together. Literally, and you get to use my map as a blueprint to help you get that process done. So, ladies, if you have any questions for me, you can hit *6 and 1 to do so, as I'm going to put our session here on Q&A mode. But if you do not have any questions for me, because I tend to give you all a lot of content. If you do not have any questions, okay, so I just put everything on Q&A session, so you can hit *6 and 1 if you have a question. But if you do not have a question, that's great. If you are listening to the replays, you can either email me, lhenry@sistersense.com, or use the voice tab on the sistersense.com website to send me a voice message. I love to hear your voice and follow up with you guys as soon as I can. Next week, we are going to jump right back into our regularly scheduled Jumpstart Your Business calls. And I'm actually next week going to do a content creation checklist so we can go through some of the recommendations we've been talking about over the course of the last month and a half, as well as give you some visuals of different types of content that I use and create on my website. So JYB, those replays are at jybreplays.com. More information about the Fierce, Focused, and Fired Up Live Webinar Conference and Mastermind Group is at powercircleconference.com. Woo! All righty, ladies. That is it for me for tonight. I hope you have enjoyed our session for today. Stay positive, productive, and we'll see you next time inside the Power Circle. Take care. Bye.